Folks, I have a American Spartan here, and this is just a deep honor, a deep privilege. Our mutual friend Chet Scott connected me. I have John Rue here as well, Jim Gant. Welcome, guys.
It's great to be here, Kary. Thank you for having us.
Always great to see you, Kary.
Oh, man. Listen, before I met the man, Jim Gant, I was working out with Chet Scott, and there's this very hard exercise where you have to army crawl while your legs are in TRX straps and you're being suspended with your weight, and you have to army crawl, do a push-up, go back, do an army crawl, do a push-up. And Chet said, these things are called Jim Gant. And I'm like, what? And then that began the legend of Jim Gant. And sure enough, you have a book written about you, but we're just going to jump right in. I'll use probably the most controversial thing first, and then we'll work backwards. But if people are familiar with Osama bin Laden, I fact-checked this, and hey, the internet said it was true. But I think there's even a museum that argues this as well. I believe you were on Osama bin Laden's hit list as one of the top people he wanted, maybe the top person to be removed from the battlefield. Is that true, Jim?
That is a true statement, and we got that confirmed by people, two people that saw the documents, two people that their integrity is beyond reproach, and they saw it with their own eyes.
I think that's a big statement already, because somebody told me recently, Kary, the size of your impact is the type of enemy that you have. Have you ever heard something like that?
Chester used this at the beginning of all of our practices this week, which is you can measure a man by the quality of his enemy. That is
it, and I must have got that from that. But isn't that true? I mean, you look at Jesus, right? Jesus, who were his enemies? Like Rome, Satan, I mean, pretty big stuff. So that was, first of all, controversial for me. Not controversial, convicting. I said to myself this week, Kary, do you have any enemies? And if not, you're playing too small. So already, Jim, before we even start, your legacy has gotten me thinking this week about myself and saying I'm playing too small. But let's just set the tone. First of all, a lot of people might know from my show, Chet Scott Built to Lead, you married his
cousin.
His cousin. Okay. And that actually is part of the journey. It's part of what maybe the internet says got you removed. But just dive in, man. Dive into the story. We're talking today about creative problem solving, all kinds of things. I'm just going to let you take the floor, Jim.
Okay. Well, I'll kind of start in the middle. Had multiple deployments to Afghanistan, a really hard deployment in Iraq.
Okay.
A lot of fighting. There was a lot of different strategies, a lot of different things. Different commanders were trying all kinds of different things. Things weren't really going well. And the reason that I wrote One Tribe at a Time was because I was getting ready to deploy back, and I wanted to win. And the guys that I was with wanted to win. And so how can we do that in such a complex place as Afghanistan? So I just went back and did what we call a intelligence preparation of the battlefield. Like, what are we actually facing? I had great success with my small teams in both Afghanistan and Iraq, but we only had so much. We only had so much influence on the battlefield. We could only do so much. So how do I scale? I think that's the
good word, yeah.
How do I scale what I have seen myself that has been successful? And so it was taking all of that information, how can I put this into some type of manual, some type of thing that other people can see, so that they can be successftive.
Wow.
And I actually wrote it up. It was 150 pages. And I sent it to Steve in Pressfield.
Man.
So he could help me edit it. Because One Tribe at a Time was Steve's idea, Steve in Pressfield's idea. Because we had been talking about tribes back and forth.
Okay.
He said, Jim, you got to get all this on paper, my friend. And he said, if you write it, I'll edit it and I'll put it together.
Whoa. One
And
tribe
so
at a time.
this was, this actually got pushed out to General Petraeus, General Mattis, Admiral Olson, the highest levels of our government. And one of the things I say about that is be careful what you ask for, because someone may ask you to do it.
What does that mean? Tell me more.
Well, it just means I wrote this, sitting in my living room. No one shooting at me, no one trying to kill me, no one trying to kill my men, not having to deal with all the things that are actually in this book. The phone rang, and it went from, hey, I think this will work, to Major Gant, go make this work.
Wow.
And so it's, I say it tongue in cheek, but be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
Because you may be asked to execute your thoughts and your beliefs in life.
That's amazing. So a couple quick questions on that. What got you interested into Stephen Pressfield? How'd you guys connect?
Oh, that's an incredible story. And I just want to say for the record, Steve is an incredible author.
Definitely, man. I got some of his books right here behind me, and in fact, he signed one. But The War of Art, Do the Work. He's got so many good ones. Not to mention his famous one that they turned into a movie, The Legend of Bagger Vance. Just in case people don't know who that is, but yeah, he's a great writer. So he reached out to you about war?
Well, the second part of that is, as great of an author as he is, he's an even better human being. And he played a role in my personal and private life for a long time. He was a mentor for me, and he still is. Wow. So we have a professional and very personal and private connection as well. And he took my thoughts and my ideas, edited them down, and then he enlisted a man named Printer Bowler, who was a journalist instructor in Montana.
Okay.
Those two put One Tribe at a Time together, and it was Steve who got it to General Mattis. I did it. Steve did that, and the trickle effect of that, by 2012, we had over 50 special forces teams all throughout Afghanistan conducting what I call tribal engagement, and what the higher call village stability operations. So it went from me and Steve, living room, me doing it, to pretty much all of the special operations that was going on at that time doing that mission. It was countrywide. It wasn't just me. It was countrywide.
That's amazing. So I got a thought that just popped in my head. It's going to be off topic, but it's on topic. A lot of the internet said that when I started studying you did things unconventional. You dressed like the people. You talked like the people. You in order to build trust, and that trust was used in a wholesome way, but basically to win the war. Have you ever heard of a guy, a missionary? I know John's probably heard of him, hundreds of years ago, named Hudson Taylor.
Hudson Taylor.
Have you ever heard of Hudson Taylor? So Hudson Taylor was this missionary that went to China, and he was the most effective missionary over there. But here's what he did. He did what you did. He dressed like the people. He talked like the people. He grew his hair out like the Chinese people. But I'm just thinking, like, oh my gosh, he did this for the gospel and to infiltrate the enemy and win people's hearts to God. You did it in a totally similar but distinct way to win a real war. But John, am I tracking? Is that a weird example, but true?
The whole contextualization is essential to just, we got to remember we don't see things the way they are. We see them the way we are.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to be effective, we've got to rethink just our paradigm, our whole worldview for how to approach it. So that's a great and to the story that I'm familiar with and learning more and more about from Jim.
Yeah. Well, you study that later, Jim. I'm going to send you an article on Hudson Taylor, but it obviously worked. But Jim, correct me if I'm wrong. Not everyone was cool with it, or it brought about some a cloud of like questioning. True.
Oh, true, absolutely. The in order to be effective out there in the Pashtun frontier, there were a lot of things a lot of decisions, things that I had to do that in order to win in our area and expand just weren't in line with many of the rules and regulations that were out there. And they're out there for a reason. With that being said, I was a senior major, had many, many, many years of experience. And initially, my entire chain of command gave me the green light. There's no one in Afghanistan that initially had more authorities, approvals, fundings than my small team.
Wow.
What happened is that after about a year, first General Petraeus left, then commanders that had given me this okay started to leave, and people came in that just were not did not agree with a lot of the unconventional tactics and all the approval that I had to do out there. I had what was called a level 1 standing CONOP. What that meant was I did not have to ask permission from higher to do many of the things that I was doing out there. I could just do it. And so when some of these commanders left, I couldn't stop that. I mean, we couldn't change what we were doing because we were doing it. And so I just made the conscious decision just to push forward.
But this is classic. Whether it's Chet at CompuServe having full agency to work within a bureaucratic system. John, you know my story, the church, working at the church as a full entrepreneurial minded agent person who tried to work within the bureaucratic system. This is the story of Steve Jobs. This is the story of Elon Musk. I mean, anyone who is a disruptor, Henry Ford within cars in a system of horse and buggy. Don't you think that this is the story, the hero's journey of you kind of getting unplugged from the matrix, Jim, but then not the environment is either going to kill you or you're going to change it? Or, I mean, is that what happened?
Yes, that is what happened. With that being said, I take full responsibility for my actions as far as drinking alcohol, taking pain medication, sleeping medication, those types of things. I never, ever tried to get out beneath the rules that I broke.
Sure.
I took responsibility for those. I would have liked to be treated with more honor as it all came crashing down. I that's all I wanted. I just wanted someone to come up and give me a hug and say, "Hey, Jim, we're getting ready to crush you. However, you did a great job. Great job." But that never happened. And so that was one of the things that it took me years to get over that. I've gotten over it now. I don't there's nothing about that experience that I'm angry about or resentful for, other than I must say I would have very much preferred that we would have spent a little bit more time, energy, and focus on how we were going to withdraw from there.
Right.
But I don't, everything that happened to me for a reason, and I'm not angry at anybody for how it ended.
Yeah, qualification. You don't ever get over it.
You just have to go through it.
That's it.
Wow.
And I did hold a lot of pain. I was still holding pain when I started working for John,
Yeah.
working with John.
Yeah.
And we were able to work through so much of that.
Yeah.
So much.
So I see between you guys a special relationship. So for people who aren't familiar with the term builder or built to lead, what is your relationship with John?
I could write a book. John is, first and foremost, he's a fellow disciple who has poured into me on that level, which is my opus, disciple and discipleship. He's poured into me as a friend, as a little brother. And no one has poured into me more as a builder than John. And I would like to say, when I was invited to start attending band calls,
right,
Friday mornings, I did that for over a year, and it was amazing. I won't get into all of it, but I would watch everything going on, and I was very, very scared of John.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I knew that he would call me on my bullshit, call me on my behavior, and I wasn't really prepared to do that initially.
What did mostly I call you on?
My beliefs.
Your unbelief.
Yeah.
Your self-limiting beliefs.
My self-limiting beliefs.
That's right. Your self-sabotaging beliefs. Because they are not
real.
They're very real, but they're not
true. They're real, but not true.
Oh, that's good.
And so as we started moving through that, Kary, there was more blood and more tears than, I could describe to you. And as we started working through discovery, which, oh, by the way, it took me 265 days to answer the first question of discovery.
Which is, what's that question?
What are your signature strengths?
Wow. Took you that long.
I could have done it in any time from 2012 behind there as a team leader. I could have looked you right in the eye and told you, but now I'm not that anymore. What are my strengths? And we just worked through discovery, worldview, identity, principles, passions. Like we worked through all these things. And what it did for me, I wanted so badly to get my life in order. Like I said, drugs, alcohol, anger, depression. I was in this constant state of shit. And Built to Lead gave me people to see, modeling the way, and a framework, a way to get to the light.
That framework starts with oneness. I mean, that's our deliverable, is oneness. And you think about what your life is like when you don't have oneness within, or oneness with the most significant relationships in your life. And, that takes real hard work to, first and foremost, identify the fractures and what's not clear, what's not aligned, and to begin to rebuild that on a new foundation. Because the pseudo oneness is based on false or pseudo beliefs. That's ultimately what's under the hood. And it's very painful and very hard to see. And you can't see it on your own. That's one of our premises, is together we transform. I think that's the heart of discipleship, back to our faith, Kary, when we were both pastors. That's when you and I met 25 years ago.
Yeah. That's right.
And, that's at the root of, I think, any kind of deep transformation, is you got to go through that together.
Is that why, for the person who's listening, hopefully my brother, but anybody who struggles with any type of addiction, whether it's workaholism, society honors that, or excessive exercise, again, society honors that, versus substance, alcohol, pornography. Is that why, Jim, people turn to that? Because it's so much easier than looking, like John said, at the brokenness, at the journey within. I mean, that's tough. It's a lot easier just to pour yourself a glass. What do you think?
100% true. And I can tell you that for me, the drugs, the alcohol, that whole path, a couple of things. One, it just numbed me. Mm-hmm. Two, I didn't have to deal with any of these IEDs, any of these self-limiting beliefs, any of these things.
Tell them what an IED is.
An improvised explosive device, the bombs that they would put in the road John helped me with those IEDs. Now in life are self-limiting beliefs. So you have to disarm or destroy those self-limiting beliefs.
Wow.
In order to keep moving, or you're just going to be sitting there looking at it.
And where do you only find an IED when you are leading your special forces?
The IEDs / self-limiting beliefs that you bump into, they are there because you're going the right direction.
Okay? You're a threat. You're a threat.
The enemy doesn't put IEDs out in the middle of nowhere to protect nothing. Okay? Same thing with self-limiting beliefs. They're keeping you from getting to the place that you must get to. So you have to disconnect and destroy them. And you have to do.
John, I know you're good with the words. You might have already heard this before. Maybe you're the one who told me. I don't know. But I once had a coach who said, you're believing all your own BS. But he defined BS as belief system.
Wow.
And so you have to change your BS.
Looks like I got to pay you some royalties now, Kary.
Love it.
I don't know, man. No, but you take that, John. You'll take that into a 10x comparison. Jim, how did God interrupt your life? Because like we've talked a little bit about the soldier. We've talked a little bit about unconventional warfare. Where did God show up?
The first book that I was given after I got home. This was probably about a year or so into it. Life just all over the place. My wife gave me a book by Houston Smith, one of my favorites, and it was basically the world's religions, the religions of Gant. I read that, and it kind of gave me my first step into, okay, there's more here than meets the eye.
Okay.
I spent several years, and I studied Buddhism. I studied Islam. I studied these things and tried to bring them in. As I went further and further, just my own journey towards truth, it became apparent to me that there would be no oneness. There would be nothing without a connection to God. But I didn't know who or what God was at all. It was I even almost struggled more with the concept and think of God. As I went through Built to Lead, started talking about the main thing, which is truth, within God's grace, it was shown to me that Jesus is the truth. Well, that's a period at the end of that sentence. So that takes me to the very end of the story.
Wow.
And now I must go back and find out who is he, and as that happened, it became very apparent to me that here is my connection to God. And here is what God wants from me. He's giving me commands. I can talk to him. He's here for me always. And that came through a direct interaction with Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because part of Jim's breakthrough is he's not retired. You've been
redeployed.
That's cool.
Redeployed. That's cool. And now I have the ultimate commander in chief. He's given me my orders.
Mm.
It's clear. I don't have to get on the radio and say, hey, what do you want me to do today? He's told me. I can always check in. I can always call him to get clarification, but I don't have to get up in the morning and thinking, oh, what am I? No, I'm here to love God. I'm here to love others. I'm here to help others possibly become disciples. Like that's my mission. And what does that do? Disciple, husband, father, son, friend, builder. When I keep my eyes on Jesus, those things that I want so badly to be a part of me, they just happen.
Mm.
They just happen.
And part of our Built to Lead framework, and Kary, you know this so well, is we're trying to help them get clarity on our client's worldview. Mm-hmm. And so part of why I raised my hand is I knew what Jim's worldview is. It was just too shallow. Mm. And so, as we just landed on that scripture that you just quoted from 2 Timothy, it just filled it in, which is no soldier in active service, no good soldier, entangles himself in civilian affairs, for he seeks to please his chief commanding officer.
Wow.
And see, just to say that, people hearing it, like, people don't understand. For me, my entire adult life was in the military. Commanders. One of the things that's great about the military, it makes it easy, is you just follow orders a lot of the time. You give me the mission and I do it. Well, the second that I hear, hey, Jim, your commander in chief is Jesus, you understand?
Wow, you shifted allegiance very fast. Yeah.
But I've got a lot of things in my head and my heart to make that one, because my life is all over the place. And so just that big deal when your commander is the ultimate commander.
That's huge.
Calms up.
Yeah. Well, so where do you see yourself going? Obviously, before we started the show today, I said, hey, you're back in town. That's pretty cool. You spent 6 months overseas. I'll let you share where or where not that is. And you spent 6 months here in the States. But what do you hope or see God using you to do through Built to Lead or other adventures?
It's actually pretty easy for me in that regard. The melody line of my prayers, I spend a considerable amount of time in prayer, is your will, your way in my life. That's what I'm after. Your will, your way, no matter the sacrifice, but also what's even harder for me is no matter the joy. That's harder for me than the sacrifice. And so
why? Tell me more on that one.
I think a lot of it is my personality. A lot of it has been my experience of not only planning for, but almost expecting a worst case scenario in my professional life. Like that's what I was there to prepare us for, the worst case scenario. So I think it's just one of these things that's a part of me, but I am getting better. It's something that I pray for every day. The people around me know that I'm searching for joy. My wife, John, other people, they know that and it's not that I want to be happy. It's that I have so much to be thankful for. I have so much to smile about. I have so much gratitude that I want to share. It's just I need to tap into it because it's there and I feel it and I'm aware of it. I just always move towards
Pain.
pain and suffering.
Yeah. I think that's common, John. What do you think? I mean, you know, I had to overcome self-injury. I mean, the war was with myself, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you see a lot of Build to Lead clients almost like, hey, tell me how high, how hard. The pain is more of a you know, a common friend than the joy, the passion, the happiness.
Yeah. We have a common friend, Tom Ryan, that's written a book about
Yeah.
suffering's inevitable. You know, there's chosen suffering and certainly unchosen suffering, which was Tom and my connection. We both lost a son
Wow.
at a young age. But, you know, I think one of the first lines in our book is pain is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Misery is a choice. Choose your pain wisely. Most humans just settle for living with chronic pain. And then we medicate and, you know, just do enough till, you know, it becomes too great to deal with. But, you know, to get through anything that's hard, you've got to choose acute pain.
Yeah.
And that's, I think part of that is getting more clarity on what is on the other side of it, because, you know, it's only worth going through it if there is something worthy of it on the other side. And we think of men don't understand anything, I think, about pain till we've watched our wives, you know, give birth. But, you know, the same thing holds true, which is on the other side of that labor pain is something so worth it. And, you know, then when we think about our faith, that, you know, when we read what Jesus endured, despising the shame, and then he's sitting down at the right hand of the Father, and, you know, that's the invitation then that we have to have a oneness and a joy that for him it was worth everything that it took in order to it. The greatest pain was just being alienated from his father. He had never experienced that before. But, you know, pain is inevitable. So we just got to choose our pain wisely. And that's, you know, good. That, Kary, that's part of your story too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And hey, Kary, this just popped into my head. I share this with people when it's appropriate. The path that I've been on, the discipleship and the builder's journey, okay, that's the path I've been on. That has been much more difficult and dangerous than anything I ever did in the military.
What? I believe it though. No, I believe it. I think running a business, I think, you know, leaving the Shire, that's tough stuff. We have a lot of titles, comforts, relationships that can keep us insulated and isolated. So what happens, Jim, if someone's watching this and they say, whether Jim or John, they say, I get it. They're saying something that's real. I've never heard anything real before. They're attracted to working with you. What if they say, I need a builder? What does that look like for either of you?
Well, you know, I think it involves a decision really on their part to embrace that builder's journey that is, you know, inherently uncomfortable. Yeah. And it's also involves a waking up. You know, that's our purpose statement begins with, together we awaken. You know, Howard Hendricks said, most men die at 30 and are buried at 80. And that is a life of slow death. And it's also true that by 30, most humans have stopped dreaming.
Yes.
We've stopped dreaming and we've just settled into drudgery.
Yep.
And so, you know, with that awakening, you know, it comes maybe one of the most painful moments of dissonance, which is our partner, David Deck, after his first day of practice with Chet, came up to him at a break and said, "Don't F with me. Are you effing with me?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he was so scared that there may be something
Mm-hmm.
that is worth living for. That's not just some other hope or whatever that's being sold to you.
Wow.
The so-called American dream, which when you experience it in its fullness, you might consider to be the American nightmare, really.
Mm.
So there is a cost, there is a
Yeah.
cost. And of this mentoring, of this building, of this discipleship.
Oh, I remember that.
But this whole idea of, is it worth it? I thought, Stephen Pressfield did us a huge honor by writing the foreword
Yes.
of our book.
To the book, right up there. And I think I got a
The
copy
book
right
you published. That's
Yeah.
right. And you
Well, I just
wrote a
published it, but you guys
publisher's
wrote it.
You wrote your own foreword, which
You sure
I
did.
have a lot of my clients read that as well. But one of the geniuses that Pressfield talks about is that this isn't one more thing to do.
Mm.
This is actually a process much less about addition than about subtraction.
Wow.
And that involves, we just did a practice the other day on the imposter syndrome, right?
Sure did.
Mm.
And a lot of us have spent thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on a pretty good imposter syndrome. And it's terrifying to have that baby stripped away and throw it away.
Yep.
But that is the process of subtraction. And to confront those IEDs, those SLBs, self-limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
that are painful, to take that away. Scary.
But this is so good, guys. I'm putting two things together. Not going to mention who, but I recently ran into a guy who really is uber passionate about using the right title when I call him something. I mean, I'm like, wow, he's almost offended if you don't say the right title. And I love what John Maxwell says. Jim, I don't know if you ever heard this. He says, if you're good, you don't need a title. And if you're bad, a title won't help you. And I think you're onto it, John, when you said the tens of thousands of dollars of imposter syndrome. Like, when you see a guy or a woman step up and be absolutely, truly confident, and they can handle the criticism, the whatever, that person is so strong. And that person just, you look at them and you're like, and I think that's what David Deck was saying. Like, I want this, but don't screw with me, because I've been hurt before. Like, you could tell there's pain underneath there too.
Yeah. Well, and it's also part of our worldview that what we used to view as our best resume, you flip it over and that becomes your rap sheet. And what you thought was your rap sheet actually is what qualifies you in many ways for the reality of the journey you're going on. And therefore, there's nothing to hide, no more imposter syndrome needed. And it actually is what gives us a lot more integrity and I think influence to invite and draw others on their own journey to go through. I think it was I've got a picture of my builder, Larry Allen. Chet calls him his best builder, but there is a lot of truth. You can't lead anyone further than you've been led yourself.
That's right.
And that's part of modeling the way on this journey. So
that's good, man.
And Kary, this is super. This was a 90-day learn that was an epiphany that was handed to me, which is, I had always thought that this journey, this path, was an ascent. For me, my years of incredible pride, ego, thinking I was a god, like all of these things, what has become clear to me is that it's a descent. It's a descent.
That's what Jesus did, right? He descended.
Yes. And that's that's what occurred to me, spending
Wow.
all this time in the Gospels and leadership,
Mm.
trying to get, my leadership. How do the leadership skills that I have gotten, how do I get these things? It's not about that. It's a decent, as you know, it's a decent. Go low.
That's
Be a
so good.
servant. Be a servant. Wash the feet.
Yeah.
Clean the tables. Be a servant.
That's so good. So rare, so uncommon. I mean, who does that today?
Yeah.
So I'm going to encourage people, if you resonate with Jim or John, builttolead.com, BUILTTO lead.com, builttolead.com. They can find more about you guys there. Right?
Say hi to Kary.
Hey, tell Jimmy he needs to get on here. We're waiting on his little sorry.
All right. We're finishing the podcast. We're talking about you, Chet. All right. Take
Kary.
care, everybody.
Love you.
Love you too. We'll